there, and welcome to our question and answer webinar for the Commercialization Manager role at GFI Europe. Big thank you for joining us. My name is Alex Mayers, and I'm the Managing Director at GFI Europe. I've been with the organisation now for about 6 years, which is almost as old as the organisation. And also on the call is Carlotte. Do you want to introduce yourself, Carlotte?
Sure. Hello. I'm Carlotte Lucas. I am the head of industry at GFI Europe. I've been here for about 4.5 years now, and I am super excited to be looking for a commercialization manager and to share a little bit more today with you about what that role entails and what it's like to work at GFI.
Nice, thank you. Okay, so the format for today's webinar is going to be basically looking at frequently asked questions in the recruitment stage, and we'll tailor those to this particular role, and we'll also give you a bit of an introduction to GFI. Hopefully you'll just get to know Carlotta and me a little bit more through this process. One thing I will say is I've got a small sausage dog called Truffle who's running around the floor. I'm dog sitting today and he's quite anxious for his mum, so if I need to pick him up, you may get to see a Truffle along the way. Cool, so I'll start by introducing GFI Europe a little bit. So we are a non-profit think tank based in Brussels, but we work fully remotely across Europe. And we work basically to try to solve the gap in the protein transition, to accelerate the transition towards alternative proteins as quickly as possible. So the reasons we do that, we call them our cause areas, and it's things like animal welfare, climate change, antibiotic resistance, lots of things which the way that we currently make meat cause quite a lot of damage to. So the way that we try to tackle this is across 3 main areas. So that's SciTech, making sure that we can get scientists tackling the biggest, most impactful gaps in the science ecosystem to get alternative proteins basically to taste as good as possible and to be as cheap as possible, as fast as possible. Secondly, we work with policymakers. That's decision makers across Europe, in Brussels, at national areas to try to unlock funding for scale, unlock funding for research and development. And thirdly, we work with the industry. So this role is sitting within the industry team, which we'll tell you a bit more about in a bit more detail in a few minutes. And this is really our industry team focuses on companies, small and large, to help to encourage them to be investing in alternative proteins, to be scaling up, and to be helping to close the gaps to, again, get the most tasty alternative proteins on as many people's plates as possible as soon as we can. So with that, I'll hand over to Carlotta to answer one of our most frequently asked questions, which is really about the role. So Carlotta, can you tell us a little bit about this role? Where did it come from? What kind of things would this person be doing?
Sure. So the alternative protein sector probably has existed maybe for the last 10 years or so. And I think 6 years ago, we saw this massive boom. So many companies entering the space, both startups and corporates, so much investment going into the space, a lot of consumer interest, really, really exciting. And now we're entering a bit of a different phase of the sector. We're actually realizing, it's a little bit harder actually to scale up a whole new industry than we had originally imagined. And when we talk to a lot of the companies in the space, we hear they're running into a lot of the same challenges when it comes to scaling, when it comes to regulation, when it comes to supply chains. And so we're really hoping to hire someone to kind of work with these companies, understand what are their main challenges when it comes to bring really a new innovation to market, and developing kind of initiatives around that. So either doing research on specific topics, producing reports, bringing different stakeholder groups together, convening them on kind of core issues. It's a pretty broad role. It's a role where there isn't going to be a specific roadmap that's going to be ready for this person when they're coming in to follow. It's a lot about kind of first understanding the challenges and then thinking creatively about, okay, how can we as GFI, as an organization, play a role in helping companies on this journey.
Such an exciting role with so much diversity in it. Like the fact that we can't really roadmap what this role is going to be doing. I think for the right person is actually super exciting. So
totally.
Which kind of speaks to the next question, maybe. Is this a newly created role?
Yeah, so it is. Within our GFI Europe team, we haven't had anyone focus on this type of work before. Even GFI globally, there's a, oh, bless you, or I don't know if those are sneeze or a cough, but whatever it is, bless you. Um, um, we haven't had anyone within GFI Europe focus on this work. There have been some colleagues in our global GFI network that maybe have touched facets of this work, but no one as specifically focused on commercialization as this. So yes, it is a new role. And so that does mean in the beginning, really, I think there's going to be a big part of the role will just be understanding the landscape, understanding the challenges. And I think something, yeah, really important for the person who will fill this role is someone who enjoys and thrives actually maybe being in a slightly ambiguous environment and really doing that big picture thinking and problem solving. We obviously have some ideas already internally about kind of the type of work, but yeah, it will really require so it's a vision and a problem solving attitude.
Nice. So pretty new skill sets for us in the team. That's really
Yeah.
awesome. Superb. How big is the industry team at GFI Europe? Can you tell us a bit more about like how it's structured, how like who will be managing the successful candidate here?
Yeah. So our industry team is currently 3 people. Myself, I am the lead of the industry team. I will be managing the commercialization manager. My focus primarily is engaging the larger corporates, the food manufacturers, the ingredient companies, equipment companies, helping them understand what's happening in the alternative protein space, what are the marketing consumer trends, what are the opportunities, and try to drive them to get more excited about this sector. Then we also have 2 other managers in the team, one focused on marketing consumer research, so actually doing a lot of those deeper analyses around what are retail sales trends, what do consumers want. That's really important kind of work that I then take to a lot of the stakeholders that I work with. And we also have someone focused more on infrastructure investment. So how do we actually finance the scale up of the alternative protein sector?
So because you've got 3 quite different roles, the current 3 team members, including you, how does the industry team work together? Like, what does collaboration look like between you?
Yeah, so I think there are a lot of projects initiatives where our different stakeholder groups or expertise areas overlap. I think the market and consumer research work we do is a great example of that. So yes, we have someone who's actually has expertise in actually doing the analysis and assessing the market and developing reports. But then I come in and work to bring those kind of analyses to the right stakeholders. And so I think there's a lot of collaborations like that where depending on the expertise or the stakeholder, we'll work together to kind of advance a lot of these initiatives.
Superb, really cool. Okay, thinking when this person comes into the role, what kind of support and training and onboarding and things like that will the successful candidate be getting?
Pretty standard for anyone joining GFIs. We have a very kind of robust, structured, but also flexible onboarding process. So the first couple of weeks, you wouldn't be doing much role-specific work yet. It would really be focused on getting to know GFI, getting to know kind of the alternative protein sector, getting to know the way we work. And we have a lot of kind of resources in place to do that and in different ways to do that as well, depending on the way you like to learn. So we really value kind of giving you the time and space to get grounded before we kind of get you focused on more the responsibilities of the role. So it starts with that. In terms of further kind of support and learning, we do have kind of a professional development structure where there's resources available at the individual, at the team, and at the organizational level to follow trainings, to focus on kind of the skills and areas that you're interested in growing in and that you need for your role. So I would say those are kind of the broader GFI Europe structures in place. In terms of kind of support for the role itself, well, I will obviously be working very closely with whoever fills this role to make sure that they feel that they have the support they need, that they're connected with the right people across the organization that are also have kind of ties related to this. once again, I think important to underscore that this is definitely a new focus area for us, and this person will be navigating, I think, kind of new information, new concepts, new maybe stakeholder groups where we haven't, done a lot of work yet to date. So they will need to feel comfortable with that.
Nice. So lots to learn, but also lots of support available as well from
Yes,
the right places.
absolutely.
Okay, a frequently asked question, I think, for most of our roles is, what would you want this person to accomplish in the first 3 months, 6 months, 12 months in this role?
Yeah. I guess building on what I've said before, I would see the beginning of this, like the first 3 months of the role, probably really being to understand the alternative protein landscape, engage with a lot of alternative protein companies, and understand from them what are the key commercialization challenges they face. So basically doing a bit of a landscape mapping exercise. I would say maybe after 6 months, ideally this person would then be able to translate those kind of conversations and understanding of what the challenges are into potential projects and initiatives that they would want to work on, whether it's specific analyses or reports, or whether it's bringing together specific stakeholders on a topic. And then I think maybe after 12 months, ideally, there would already be a couple of those things that have been identified in the strategy as top priority projects to get those, going.
It's really cool. There's lots of scope in this, isn't there, for people to really kind of
Absolutely.
design and build their own kind of function.
100%.
Really cool. And maybe speaking to that, or maybe speaking slightly separately to that, but what do you expect the biggest challenges to be in this role? And also maybe what are the biggest challenges that the industry team within GFI Europe is facing, at least in the short term?
Yeah. I think the fact that the broader excitement around alternative proteins has waned a little bit since maybe the peak in 2022. The corporate interest has waned, the investor interest has waned. That I think has made it really hard for a lot of alternative protein companies to succeed. They're working with smaller budgets, shorter runway, and now is the time actually where the hardest part of scaling up this industry has to happen. Yes, we have that initial innovation and product development, but now we need to figure out how to produce those at scale. So on one hand, we are maybe in the most difficult phase of an industry, the valley of death, as many call it, and at the same time as maybe the broader kind of interest in alternative proteins is not there as much. So I think a lot of it is also going to be about finding the right stakeholders that we can still bring on board, because there are still plenty of corporates that are active in the space. And it's about finding, who is still willing to invest and making sure we are bringing the right players together.
Makes a heap of sense. Okay, thank you. And what about like the industry team's goals we spoke about the kind of 12-month success metrics for this role, but what about the industry team? Like, what are you planning for your goals for 2026?
Yeah. I guess we have a wide range of goals. I think one that's maybe worth especially highlighting is just this broader organizational focus on scaling up the alternative protein supply chain. I think maybe the past 5 years, we were still really more in a proof of concept phase where we want to see, okay, can we develop these products? Can we start to bring them to market? Is there consumer traction? And now we're getting to the phase where we're like, okay, yes, all of that happened. Now, how do we scale supply chains that can actually feed billions of people around the world? So I would say this is broader than just the industry team focusing on this. I would say this is pretty cross programmatic. Also the science and the policy teams thinking about their roles in this, but scaling alternative protein supply chains, I would say is a really big new focus area for GFI that many people will be focusing on in 2026.
Nice. You can see very much where this role is coming from. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Great. Okay, we spoke a bit earlier about how the industry team works together, and we also spoke earlier at the beginning. I was talking about the other teams, the kind of sci-tech work, the policy work. How does your industry team work together with other departments across GFI?
Yeah, there's a lot of opportunities for collaboration, and depends a little bit about what type of work you're talking about. So I think with the sci-tech team, um, especially around kind of like technical analyses are for alternative proteins, there's often both a commercial and a technical angle to that. Where we work together, I think a really nice example is a report we just released that we did in partnership with the consultancy Arthur D. Little. It's around precision fermentation scaling. And we worked very closely with the SciTech team there who brought in their technical expertise around precision fermentation production. And the us from the industry team brought expertise around potential target molecules and markets and go to market strategies and positioning. So yeah, if I think about our collaboration with the SciTech team, it's probably a lot around different types of analyses. With our policy team, our policy team often has national level leads in different countries. So we have national policy leads in the UK, in Germany, in Spain. I think where we work quite closely with them because they develop strong relationships with all types of stakeholders in their specific country, including a lot of industry stakeholders. And so we can partner with them to bring a lot of our kind of insights and knowledge and initiatives to the kind of local, kind of national level fields. So I think that is important to mention that a lot of the industry work we do is not country specific. It happens either at the European or even at the global level, but we can work with some of our colleagues in the policy team who are working at the national level to bring those initiatives closer to home in some areas. And then we have a lot of wonderful kind of support functions as well that are critical to enabling the work we do at GFI. So for example, our communications team, that anytime we do any type of new research or analyses or even other types of projects, events, help us to make sure that those things reach the stakeholders we need to bring them to. And also advise a lot on kind of the strategic communications around a lot of our work. Our operation team make sure that we can actually do much of the work that we do. They help with setting up contracts, if we're working with external contractors, paying for them. They really enable, everything we do. And also our development or a philanthropy team, as a nonprofit, are key to enabling everything we do at GFI, working with our donors to communicate kind of the work of the different teams and advance our mission. So there's also opportunities, and it is very important for us in our programmatic teams to work with the development team to make sure that we can communicate the impact we're having to our donors.
Super, thank you. Just also to add on this as well, we have a network of affiliates around the world. So GFI Europe is one of, I think, 7 organizations set up by GFI, each focusing on areas where it really makes sense for us to be focusing on. So that's groups in places like Asia Pacific, also Brazil, also India. So lots of exciting opportunities to also get to know colleagues in those other regions and other affiliates. So this is still quite a unique role. This is the first of its kind in any of the global networks, I believe. But Carlotta, is there anything more that you can share on like how this also fits in with kind of global work?
While there's no one else right now within our global GFI organization who has the title Commercialization Manager, there are definitely people who are focusing on elements of this role in line with the broader focus on just scaling up supply chain. So there's actually quite a bit of work happening in our GFI APAC team, I would say, around scaling up alternative proteins, driving kind of market demand, where I see a lot of opportunities to partner with our team there. And as well, I work very closely with our GFI US team, partner with them on many initiatives. And I think as a global organization, we're continuing to find ways to collaborate. So I think that there's also definitely an opportunity once this person comes and joins the organization to see, okay, which of our affiliates can we partner with on this? Where do we have aligned goals? And ideally, where this mission is global and not just for Europe.
Lovely. Super, super cool. It's a wonderful bonus, I think, about working in an organization like GFI Europe, because there are these kind of mirror image organizations around the world that we can really learn from. It's like having this giant community of sort of similar good practice happening all over the place. So yeah, it's quite enriching. Cool. I'm going to give you a bit of a break from speaking for a minute, Carlotte, and answer the next FAQ, which is about the opportunities that are in place to advance within the organization career-wise in this kind of role. So yeah, it's a good question. It's one that we do get asked quite a lot. It's important that we make sure that those career pathways are there. So we, as Carlotte said, invest quite a lot of time and energy and kind of culture around professional development. So we want to make sure that everybody across our organization knows where they're able to grow and knows how they can basically adapt and learn, deepen their skill sets to just be continuing to grow and to adapt to new challenges that we have. So some of that learning could be quite generalist, and some of it could be quite specialized as well. So in terms of career paths, we are still quite new. We are only about 6.5 years old in Europe. And so we're still building out quite a lot of our first roles, basically, and the functions that we want to be working in. So that gives us a lot of opportunities to offer internal promotions to people when there's a new role or new something coming in. So we want to also make sure that with a new role like this, we will be kind of taking a look at, okay, after say 6 months in this role, is this still kind of the correct job description? Is this really the work that we want to do? And making sure that we can kind of grow and work with people, making sure that we basically stick to the mission and stick to the work that we need to be doing, but also the learnings that this person coming in would have, just making sure that we can adapt to those too. So there's lots of opportunity. It's difficult to kind of map out exactly what a career path would look like in a space where we still don't really know how it's going to develop. But that means that there's a heap of opportunity for this person coming in to be directing where that needs to go. So loads of opportunities there. And as I say, like, because we're quite new, there's opportunities within the organization, even sideways sometimes, to be kind of looking into branching into new areas. We have lots of country level work, as Carlotte said. That's an area with this role that's not specifically a focus. It's not particularly pointing at one country or another. But as someone does more work in this, maybe there's opportunities there for the function to grow and to expand, and for kind of more capacity to be built in different ways. Right now, we just don't know what that looks like. So lots of opportunities. It's a fairly big job that we have across 44 countries in Europe, and a team of about 43 people-ish, I think now, who are working towards it. So yeah, as we grow, as we develop, lots more opportunities to come. Our operations team also is working quite hard at the moment on mapping out like career pathways for people and making sure that we can really structure those as much as we can and make sure that professional development and performance conversations are all kind of geared in the right direction to try to get towards career pathways for people across the team. So yeah, it's quite an exciting time, I hope, to be joining and to be kind of helping to map out what some of that needs to look like too. Carlotte, is there anything specific that you wanted to add on that from your perspective?
No, I think you covered it all.
Oh, nice. Okay, so we'll move on to the next question, which is more about the specific person in this role. So in terms of who we're looking for, what attributes do you think someone really needs to have to be successful in this position?
I think I've already mentioned this a couple of times, but in my head, the number one attribute or skill we're looking for is someone with a strategic, mindset, who is able to think creatively and big picture about how to address some of these large systemic challenges that the sector faces, and someone who feels comfortable working in an ambiguous kind of area where there's no concrete answer, and who really gets excited about that. That's what I would say is the number one most important attribute. Now, in terms of some of the more concrete work, I think there's a lot of engagement happening with different stakeholders. So having strong interpersonal skills, being able to build relationships, to be able to communicate effectively is really key. Part of the role will also be doing analyses or developing research reports. So having strong communication skills around kind of writing, presentations, etc., is also important. And yeah, ultimately someone who is able to take a lot of, take this role and get excited and run with it. So being kind of a self-driven, independent, etc.
Hopefully for that person, this is a really exciting role.
There's a lot of responsibility and ownership. I guess that was the word I was looking for, that this person will have. Autonomy. That was the word.
Nice. 100% agree. And the more we talk about this role, the more excited I get for it too. It's going to fill such an important gap. And I do think for the right person, like that level of autonomy is just super exciting too. So brilliant. Okay, going on to other questions about who we're really looking for. How many years of experience would be useful for someone coming into this role?
Years of experience is, I would say, not something that's really top priority for us. It's really more about the type of experience and the skills that you've been able to build up throughout your career. Obviously, this is a very specific role focused on commercialization. So we are looking for someone who has some type of relevant experience, whether it is being a management consultant, whether having focused on financing companies or technologies, whether having worked within either corporate or a startup on commercial strategy or operations. I think there's a lot of different specific backgrounds people can come from, but with that kind of common lens of understanding kind of, the commercial side of a company, of an industry, and being able to bring that expertise to this role. Very specifically, I think that also means having a good understanding of different business models, how to look at cost drivers of technologies, be willing to dive into the unit economics, and having a grasp of how to look at something and think if those things are commercially viable.
Nice, thank you. What if someone's not a first language English speaker? Are you still happy for them to apply for this role? Like how good does their English need to be?
100%. You do not need to be a first language English speaker. Our team, as it stands, the 43 people we have is very diverse. We have people from across Europe, majority of who are not first language English speakers. For this role, you do need to be comfortable working in English, speaking, writing in English, but we don't expect any kind of first language English proficiency.
Super, thank you. Just to add as well, just on the diversity point, I did a count up recently for a presentation, I can't remember when, looking at like the different nationalities represented in our team. And it was well over 20, I think it was 21, 22 or something, nationalities across our team of 42-ish people. Like
that's great.
It's kind of remarkable. It's really remarkable. Yeah. It is indeed quite a diverse team with lots of backgrounds and lots of languages, which is just a wonderful place to be. So that diversity of thoughts and people bringing different perspectives really makes us stronger. So yeah, we are, as Carlotte said, not bothered whether someone is absolutely perfect and crisp in their English, so long as you're comfortable working in it. Bring your diversity, bring your other languages too. That's awesome. Brilliant. Okay, what about the role being restricted to certain countries? That's still in the job description, yeah?
Yes. Okay, I'm going to actually take a quick peek at my notes. Currently, we are indeed only able to hire for someone that is already in one of the countries we're working in. So that includes Belgium, France, Germany, the Netherlands, Spain, Portugal, Sweden, and the UK. So you would need to have right to work in one of those countries and live in one of those countries.
Thank you. Yeah, that really is because of how we're registered. Like we're registered as foreign employers, or we have a branch or we have an entity in one of those countries. So we are quite limited by them, but that's also a pretty big chunk of Europe. So hopefully we can still find good diversity through there. Super. Okay, again, I'll give you a bit of a break, Carlotte, and answer a couple of questions. So one fairly broad question that we have, being a remote organization, are there opportunities to meet colleagues in person? A resounding yes from our side. So we have a couple of opportunities every year to meet people at a GFI Europe team retreat. So we're going to sunny Frankfurt in October, and we've got another retreat in April. It's normally twice a year. So those retreats tend to be a bit of a blend of co-working, also just connection time. So we have some activities to just help people understand each other, understand how they work, and how best to kind of coordinate and communicate together. And also some kind of deep dive sessions into like specific areas, whether that's something really strategic that we need to chew through, or whether it's like a particular topic that it's just helpful having people in the same room to talk through and plan together. So on the whole, the remote work works really well, but there are definitely some topics where physically being in the same space, especially if it's something chunky, where a couple of days is kind of necessary, like strategic planning or something like that. So we try also to have that as an opportunity too. So if there's a need, like an operational need to get together, we'll find ways to make that happen too. So yeah, in short, I think we try to get the best out of the remote work, and also we try to get the best out of the time that we do spend in person too. So yeah, it's a bit of a mix, as good as we can get it. Personally, I love the team retreats. It's just such a wonderful time to really connect with everybody. I always think of them as like the coffee break of the year, kind of all the coffee breaks of the year all smushed together into one short week. So, and another common question that we get is that because of our focus on alternative proteins, does that mean that all of our staff need to be vegans in order to fit in? Absolutely not. We have, again, a really diverse range of dietary preferences in the team. Some people join an organization like GFI because they're really passionate about animals or about the climate. And for many people, that overlaps with being vegan or being vegetarian. That's great. We also have people who feel very passionate about the science of alternative proteins and really want to, basically, they love the taste of meat, and they just really want that taste of meat to come from a better, more sustainable source. And that's great too. So we all kind of bring our own backgrounds and our own versions of how we feel about our cause areas, and that is, again, part of our strength. So if you're vegan, you'll find a very safe space here. If you're not vegan, the same applies. There are definitely a wide range of different preferences across the team. And yeah, we can be pretty honest and open and very welcoming about all of them. So cool. Okay, so the last question that we'll finish on, Carlotta, is a question that we can both answer, and I'll come to you first. So what is your favorite thing about working at GFI Europe?
Can I only name one thing?
I sometimes cheat and go for two, so feel free.
Yeah. I think my favorite thing and the thing that attracted me to GFI in the beginning was, being at an organization where you really feel like you are able to make an impact that is so purpose-driven, that is so focused, has such a clear theory of change, and that what you work on day to day matters. That's really why I also left kind of my corporate role before, and I've found that in heaps and spades here at GFI. And then maybe the second thing I'll sneak on is also just the significant amount of trust and autonomy in our culture. That means, we all trust each other to be doing what we need to do. And that gives us a lot of flexibility in our day-to-day, which is just a great feeling.
I agree. I was also going to go for two things. I'm going to cheat as well. So
go for it.
For me, definitely echoing the impacts question. So I come from an animal welfare background. I was working in animal welfare before joining GFI Europe. And I can wake up in the morning knowing that there are 7 billion chickens every year across Europe which go into the food chain. And I can wake up every morning knowing that I'm actually doing something about that and actually helping to tackle the welfare basically at source by finding better ways to make the meats that people know and love. And that's a pretty awesome place to be. We can and will make a huge difference to basically human history and a huge chunk of animal lives that are going to go into our food chain. So that's incredibly rewarding and enriching. And the second thing I love is just the team members that we work with. In Europe, we have a super courageous, highly strategic, wonderfully collaborative, and very friendly and supportive team. Kind of no accident. Like we've literally been helping to design the team around that kind of design in the first place. But it's not just within Europe; it's also echoed across all of our affiliates. We just have some of the world's best people on the kind of subject matter experts for what they're looking at, and we can speak to them every day. Like literally, I can look at my diary first thing in the morning at the meetings that I've got, and I'm just kind of filled with energy knowing that like every single one of them is someone that I'm really excited to speak to. And that's, as someone in my job, that's really wonderful. That's a really wonderful place to be. So yeah, lots of impacts, and also just working with the most amazing team to help it happen. So yeah, pretty good place to be. Nice.
That was energizing.
Cool. I'm fairly pleased to say that Ruffle the sausage dog is also settling, which is good news. So yeah, he's giving me a funny look, but I think it's settling. He did well to kind of sit through this.
Yeah, he made it through the video.
Yeah. Super. Okay, we'll finish there. I'll just say, just to wrap up, if anyone does have questions, especially something which is a bit more personal or a bit more kind of about how you would kind of interact with the role, or kind of anything about GFI Europe that's not been answered today, feel free to send us an email. So if you email europe-hiring@gfi.org, that will go through to our hiring team, and they can get back in touch and just make sure that we're answering as many questions as you need us to. Looking forward to seeing applications coming in for this. It really is going to be a spectacular role. There's so much exciting work that this person is going to be doing. And I really do hope that I hope that this session has kind of answered a few questions, helped to kind of give a bit of a flavor of the culture and the style and the kind of work that this person's going to be doing. Oh, Trouble the dog is starting to squeak now, so maybe it's time to finish. Cool. Thank you, Carlotta, very much indeed. And yeah, good luck, everybody. Looking forward to seeing your application soon.